You are listening to Beyond the Verse, a Star Citizen podcast. A show dedicated to Cloud Imperium Games, Star Citizen, and Squadron 42. Whether you fight, explore, unite, and/or trade, we bring you news, updates, interviews, reviews, and analysis. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a pour of Radagast, and join us as we go Beyond the Verse.
Launch sequence activated.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Beyond the Verse, a Star Citizen podcast. I'm your host, Sulyce, and this is episode 98. Welcome in. On today's episode, we have just a few items to cover. We have This Week in Star Citizen, the quick little recap of what is currently going on in the game, Stella Fortuna, and other events as well. We'll get into the latest 4.1 PTU patch updates and what you can expect, maybe a little bit of predictions as what we can expect in the next couple of days, if not weeks. We will look at the Alpha 4.1 patch watch. That'll be the main segment of today's episode. And then rather than an Inside Star Citizen, we have a behind the ships, a first look into the Atlas Geo. This is going to be a very interesting episode. I'll put a timestamp to kind of fast forward if the personal side of things doesn't interest you, and that's fine. I know we average quite a lot of listeners. Not everybody's involved on a personal level or in our Discord, etc., and I want to respect that as well. But I would be remiss if I didn't address kind of the elephant in the room. But in the last couple of days, I've been very distant from Star Citizen, from social media. And so I'll quickly get through this, if I can get through this, just, as a man to everybody listening. So my father has had Parkinson's and dementia for, 10 plus years. It's been a very long road for him. And unfortunately, on Monday, we had to say goodbye. He passed Monday night. So my brother and I, we were in Houston with my mother. We were by his side, passed peacefully. Don't need to go through all the details. I think that would be a little inappropriate for a podcast. But if there is any questions as to why I haven't been as engaged, or maybe this is a fast episode, or maybe I don't have as much life behind me talking right now, that's why. It's gonna be a pretty tough next couple of days, next couple of weeks. We will have a celebration of life ceremony, kind of mid-April, April 12th-ish. So it'll be right around the 100th episode. But yeah, I think I have a lot of friends listening, friends that I have known before the podcast and friends that I've met during the podcast. And you guys have been incredible these last couple of days. I debated whether or not to post something so personal on social media, but quite honestly, I was following in Jared Huckabee's shoes. He had to say goodbye to his father this year as well, and I figured if it helped him in any way, maybe this would help me as well. So I think that's enough of that. I posted that we were making a very hard decision on Sunday night, and then of course of his passing on Monday night, and y'all have been incredible, and for that I'm forever grateful. Thank you so much for being there for me. I will figure out how to deal with all this in the next couple of days. Next couple of episodes will normalize and get something in front of you that you expect. So, with that huge downer, I didn't even get to join Supervision last night in their org night. There were 25 plus people who signed up for it. It was our last, I think it was our last effort of getting tickets in for the event going on. It's not Fight for Pyro. It's like say, I don't know. My brain is so scattered right now. I think we did well. I need to catch up with my board of directors and just see how we did. I'm sure it went fine. I'm sure they had a great time. There's just something about being with like 25 energetic, loving people that I'm like, you know what? Maybe next Thursday. I love you guys so much, but I hope you understand. Let's get into the polls in the comments section.
Incoming message.
All right, sharing my screen for those of you on the tube and on Spotify video. So at the end of every episode, we ask polls when we go into comments. We'll do it again for this episode. I don't know what the hell I'm going to ask. We will, I don't know, it's probably going to be something about the new ships. But for this poll, I asked, what days do you normally listen to the podcast? A little bit of backstory. I'm recording these Friday morning at 5 a.m. It's 5:16 a.m. At this exact moment. Which is fine. I usually get up at 4 to work out at 5, to be with my kids at 6:30, to take them to school at 7:15. You can kind of see where this goes. Well, Friday, I choose not to work out. Instead, I record my podcast. So it's going to happen regardless. But I'm curious. I'm curious what my community's doing. Like, when are y'all listening to me? And it didn't really help. I mean that in a loving, good way. But out of 36 votes, almost half of you, 16 of you, said Friday. So I will continue mission and record Friday mornings. Right behind that was Monday. There's 10 of you that listen on Mondays. Then the rest of you are kind of scattered. There's 5 on Saturday, there's 3 on Tuesday, and there's 2 on Wednesday. I'm very transparent with my numbers. 36 votes is actually really low, but that's fine. I'm not judging. Like it's just a low vote count. But we do average around 700 to 800 listens per episode. So I'm hoping this speaks for the majority of you out there. So as you're listening, I do hope I continue recording Friday mornings and it doesn't change or disrupt what you're currently doing. All right, to the comments section. Have a few to go through. Try to go through this quickly. Here we go. First, AJ Valentine, quote, love this show. Keep up the great work. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do any events since I haven't been able to log in since updating to 4.0 and hoping 4.1 fixes this, but we'll see. And I don't think Star Citizen can function with private servers because of the way they want to make the economy function. It seems more player-based is what they're going for, and base building shops and whatnot. So just to react to that. Again, I have a lot of friends that are having issues logging in, even to this day. They were doing just fine. They were just fine up until the last couple of days. So this seems to be cyclical. It seems to be something that is ebbing and flowing, right? Sometimes like 4.0.2 comes out and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. There's a hot fix that happens within the week. One of these like Tuesday nights, late night, early morning hot fixes, and it seems to work. If this is the case, freaking do it every day. CIG, do it every day. Because what happens is if you don't touch the servers, in like 6 or 7 days, this is what happens. They deteriorate. Don't know why. I'm sure it has something to do with the back end. 100% has to do with the back end. But they need to figure that out. It's going to be very important that they figure that out. Why do servers deteriorate? Is it because of the object container streaming? Is it because it just the amount of information it's having to upload? I mean, every little single piece, like a drink can, has a container ID and populates whenever you get close to it, right? I don't know if it's just too much. They're using AWS, so I can't imagine it's on the server side, but there's something going on that they just deteriorate over time. So AJ, I hope it turns around for you. Moving on to Anna. I randomly thought that while you cough, play a hold please sound. Okay, so I think I coughed once last episode. I've been really sick. If this is your first episode, I've been really sick for the last couple of podcasts. And I just been coughing, right? The things that you don't want to have happen when you're recording a podcast was happening. So I had that tickle in my throat, the tickle in my lungs. I'd be coughing every 10 seconds. And what I would do is I would kind of turn off to the side and cough because I couldn't get to my cough button. Like there's a toggle mute that you push whenever you cough or sneeze. I couldn't get to it fast enough. But I've changed my layout a little bit, so I should be able to push that more often instead of hacking along in your ears. So thanks for noticing. Cody Lane, quote, typically like to listen to the podcast while working. Being a technician in a blue-collar industry makes it hard to find time to play the game, maybe a bit more than our space dad, but still like to listen in and receive updates through your podcast. Rather than the actual form on the website, it's a bit more entertaining. Well, thank you. I hope it's a lot more entertaining than reading. And easy to keep up with. I find most of my time to be able to listen to you at work while listening through headphones. Always fun. Thank you. Cody, blessings, man. Thank you so much. Yeah. I hope I'm more entertaining than just reading words. I mean, I can't read words accurately, so that's always fun. That's always fun to make fun of. Gregory writes, typically I get behind on podcasts. Dude, you and me both. Okay, real quick. One of my favorite podcasts is Critical Role. I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd at heart. I love Critical Role, but every campaign is like 300 episodes, and each episode is like 3 hours long. So yeah, I get behind tremendously on that show. But I feel you. Like I get behind on podcasts as well. I also listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to obviously some other Star Citizen creators. Dude, like I have a hard enough time staying up to date recording my podcast, much less listen to others. All right, back to the quote. Since returning to the office every day, the train ride to and from work, I've been catching up. It is harder to keep up to date during different sports seasons. Preach. Isaac Randolph. Listen to the podcast while working. I do a lot of blue collar work. Hell yeah. And I have earbuds that are also certified earplugs. Well, good. When I get tired of listening to music, I typically can turn on podcasts like yours. Well, thanks for listening. Man, okay, so my first job at Amazon was in the fulfillment centers. I was an area manager. I had a couple. I think I did three fulfillment centers as an area manager, and just a couple years ago I went back to the FCs for a quick little stint as an operations manager. So factory work or warehouse work I'm very familiar with. Just don't get in trouble, man. Anybody listening out there, if you're listening during work, do not get in trouble because of my podcast. All right? There, I'm on record saying it. You do you. But man, I would hate it if I found out one of you got in trouble because you were listening. All right, last quote. Tim, listen to the podcast on my drive to work on a weekday whenever it lands. Keep up the good work. Tim, that is 100% my experience. I've told this story many times, and I'll keep on telling it. But the first podcast I ever listened to, I got really into driving up to Lubbock, Texas. And so if you're familiar with that drive, it freaking sucks. It's 2 turns from Austin. You go west like 100 freaking miles, and then you go north like 500 miles. It's that one turn. And you can see Lubbock like 3 hours ahead. So this little dome of light, and you know that you're never going to get there. Like, it's so miserable. So I would throw on podcasts and I would listen on my drive. As at the time I was a regional manager, so I'd kind of go from city to city around Texas. And if this makes any sense to y'all, there was a time that I had a region that was Texas, Washington State, and Oregon. Make sense to me. Like, make that make sense. It's not a good shape of a region. So we have a giveaway to get to. Guys, we have a giveaway to get to. We were giving away, and this is funny. I had this pulled up. Bear with me as, again, my brain is completely beside itself. Just trying to list off everything that came with this. So it's the Stella Fortuna 2955 giveaway. Again, provided by CIG, but it's independently ran by me. In this giveaway, it is the CNOU, the Consolidated Outlander Mustang Gamma with lifetime insurance, the Murray Cup paint, the Murray Cup racing helmet, the suit, rifle, Star Citizen game package. The whole deal, which, by the way, bookmark beyondtheversehq.com. We'll have all of our giveaways, all the information you could possibly want right here in front of you on this webpage. So this was a big giveaway. So again, thank you CIG for providing. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We had right around 110 entries. So thank you for engaging. Thank you for participating. I didn't get to the reminders and the social media posts like I wanted to. Again, clearly I don't want to keep saying this all episode, but just other things took my priority. So here we go. The infamous spreadsheet. And I go through the same process every time to cover my ass and to give everybody a fair chance. So if you are a board of director for Sole Provision and you win, you're getting the gift, right? You're getting the giveaway because I'm doing this completely fair. All right, so in Alpha 2, in cell Alpha 2, I am going to randomize this cell. That gives me a random number, but every time I modify, it changes the number. So I'm going to Control C, Control V. I'm going to paste as a text field. Now those will never change. All right, I'm going to filter this guy. Y'all can see how my brain is like completely jacked right now. Let's do random, and let's do largest to smallest, and prime entity. Hey, congratulations. This is Anna. Anna, prime entity, one of our very committed emailers, always providing really great emails. So, hey, this is phenomenal. Good work. And then the question we asked was, how have you escaped fate in Star Citizen? Tell us your most lucky experience in the game. And for prime entity, it was, I haven't had many ships exploding in seconds and all, but it is probably when I was attempting the destroy fuel mission for the Frontier Fighters. I was shot at by those demonic Alpha 34 cannons. Ship that normally dies in seconds, the Sulyce soft death, letting me log back to the station rather than dying, which was lucky. I would agree. The Sulyce, I would choose a better ship. I'm kidding. Honestly, out of all the alien ships, the Sulyce's probably the most fun, I think, in my mind. You go in from its bottom and you're kind of like laying back as you take off. I have flown it a few times. I just can't. I just can't fly something like that. I do want to come down here to Intriri on row 16 just real quick, saying Groza must not win again. Yep, Groza did not win. He normally does win. So, not mine. He's never won one of mine before, but he wins everybody else's. So Prime Entity, congratulations for winning our latest giveaway. Okay. This week in Star Citizen, guys, this is super fast. It's This Week in Star Citizen. We look at the 4.1 patch notes. We're going to look at the Atlas Geo just quickly, and then we'll end the episode on the 4.1 patch watch. And maybe we'll rearrange because it doesn't really make sense for us to break up 4.1 like that. So maybe we do that. Let me just move some things around. Boobity boop. Okay, This Week in Star Citizen. Here we go. Sharing my screen for those of you on YouTube and Spotify. Here we go. Happy Monday, everyone. Last week, we opened Alpha 4.1 PTU to all backers, inviting everyone to jump in and test the latest patch. A huge thanks to everyone who's been getting up close with the juvenile Valagars, though some of you have been calling them cute, and we have questions. Those are the worms. Pretty damn sure those are the worms. From crushing countless rocks while testing the vehicle and FPS mining updates, to aligning the Hather orbital laser platforms with precision and putting the new Volt weapons through their paces, you've played a tremendous role in preparing Alpha 4.1 for the live servers. We'll keep you updated on Spectrum as we get closer to the live release. We also kicked off Stella Fortuna in the verse with a new obtainable Spectrum badge, a community bar crawl screenshot contest, fresh racing gear, and more. If you haven't joined in yet, there's still time to take part and grab some great prizes for yourself and up to 4 friends. Just be sure to get your submission in before the deadline on Monday, next Monday. We'd like to give a special shout out to Enzia Racing as the Crux Cup's 10th anniversary celebrations continue. Last Sunday, the Open GP race day took place. Fittingly on the same weekend, the new Formula One season kicked off. We saw amateur racers go all out across 3 exciting classes, and next weekend, the competition heats up with the Pro GP Series. And for those in Germany or planning their May travels, mark your calendars for the community-organized Con 42 near Frankfurt. The event kicks off with Bar Citizen on Friday, leading into a full day of community fun on Saturday, May 17th, and developer panels, community booths, cosplay, and more. Check out their website for all the details. Alrighty, bullet points. This is this week. I had not a lot to work with, but thank God. Thank you, CIG, for having a light week in the verse. So we have a patch watch on Wednesday, the behind the ships video that we're going to watch actually next, and then the RSI weekly newsletter. Fantastic. So like I said, a very easy week to get through. So real quick, you might hear a sound. I'm just trying to prime the video real quick. So we're going to turn this back on, but down to 25. All right, the video will be ready to go in just a second. Okay. So I don't know. What excited you most about this week? There were a shitload of leaks, and guys, I can't stress it enough. I'm in a freaking hospital, chilling out with my brother, trying to kill time, obviously. And I'm getting messages about the Idris has come out, or it's going to come out. You guys, man, you do you. If you're involved in pipeline and you are super deep into leaks, that's your thing, have at it. You are going to be on a roller coaster of highs and lows. Most of it's bullshit, right? What they do, and this is just about pipeline, but what individuals do is they comb through, it's called data mining. They comb through existing notes and they deep dive into files and they say, oh, hey, in this patch, such and such is coming out, or I see this hint at, maybe something is being worked on the back end. And they've done a lot of good work. And I say again, anybody who data mines have done some good work. They've uncovered some things and leaked appropriate quote unquote items, but then you get some crazy nonsense. Now, if you are a long time listener to this show, yeah, there are times that I make some pretty outlandish predictions. I thought that Squadron 42 was going to be officially released this year. It was going to be announced in CitizenCon, and we would have, an Idris, because again, it was 2024, 24 backwards is 42. I'm like, hey, that's cute. Let's make this the year of Squadron 42, which meant that the Idris should have been playable because it's always been tied to Squadron 42. Always has been. And as far as I'm concerned, always will be tied to Squadron 42. I will probably stick to this moving forward, but we will not see the Idris until Squadron 42 comes out, but that's next year, right? 2026. So that was nonsense. So everything else I was hearing after that, right? It's like the boy who cried wolf. Everything else after that, I was like, it's all BS. It's probably not happening. So somebody said something about a Drake Golem. Someone said something about this Atlas Geo, and I'm like, I bet it's also crap. Well, no, it's legit. It was testable in Evocati, and I did end up sharing that on socials whenever the dust settled. I did end up sharing that on socials. It was testable in Evocati. It was fully testable in the PTU. So everybody's been able to see it. Everybody's been able to kind of get into it if you're a PTU backer, but social media is blown up with it. So we have 2 amazing ships. I'll kind of react to it as well, but let me share my screen and then we'll watch the video together and go from there. So here we go. Instead of Inside Star Citizen on Thursday, we had behind the ships the Argo Atlas Geo. Quote, take a peek at Argo's new Atlas Geo practical augmentations, including lasers, storage, and a very fun way to travel. In a very weird way, guys, we finally have jetpacks. You can kind of see in this image over here on the far left, but we finally have backpack. So let's pull this little guy up. Let's watch this video together, and we will go from there. Here we go. Enjoy.
The Atlas is a power suit that assists players loading cargo into their ship with a tractor beam.
So it's supposed to work as a cargo carrier in your personal hangar to move giant boxes around. Now we are introducing the Atlas Geo, and that is a mining mech.
By the way, mining is getting an overhaul. We'll cover that in the next couple of minutes, but mining is going to be a pretty deep focus for 4.1. So not only are we getting this Atlas mining version, but we are also getting the Drake Golem, which is a mining version. So think the Drake Vulture, which is salvaging, the Drake Golem, which we don't have as much information on, obviously, since we have a video of the Atlas, but it's going to be a soloable mining vessel from Drake.
The Geo's beam is a vehicle mining beam.
But with the press of a button, you can reduce the power to fit the expected power of an FPS mineable. The Geo does not have the regular tractor beam, it only comes with the mining arm and the mining laser. But the biggest improvement or the biggest addition that the Geo will have is a giant backpack.
I am so excited about the animations here. Okay, so the CSV SM. There's so many freaking acronyms in this game. I think it's the CSV SM, the latest like cargo mover, little like ground vehicle. It has the FM variant for the base building. It has a really awesome, man, if I'm even thinking about the right vehicle, I'm pretty sure. It has a compartment in the front to like put specific weapon systems, like the multi-tool. I love how CIG is going this direction. It's so like realistic in my opinion. So you go to the front of this vehicle, excuse me. You go to the front of this vehicle and it literally only has, it has a slot that is only available for the multi-tool. I love the uniqueness. I love its prescription. You're going to see it here as well, underneath the backpack, which actually is pretty realistic in the military. So in the military, you would put, well, hold on. You'd have the E-tool. Everybody knows their E-tool. Everybody remembers their E-tool, you veterans out there. But you would put your E-tool kind of on the top or the front of your rucksack. You have a very specific place to put some of these items, right? And for me, you would have like your sleeping apparatus on the very top, because you want, or on the very bottom, so you push all your weight up top. And so that compartment that was on the bottom of your rucksack had all your plush materials, right? Your whoopee, everything that keeps you like warm and fuzzy inside. But all that crap goes in the very bottom, so that pushes the weight up on your shoulders, and that was pretty damn standard across the rank. So I think it's kind of neat when you have something so prescriptive. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you not like the prescription? Do you kind of want to put things wherever you want to, or do you like having a designated location for things? I think it's super interesting.
It's like one of the regular cargo boxes. You can just pop it in. It'll fill it with ore as you mine.
And it's got a little multi-tool storage on the bottom where you have your multi-tool, mining
So cool.
gadget, and the big FPS tractor beam.
So cool.
You can also bring spare containers. So once the container on your back is full, you can then detach it and replace it with a new one.
Animation looks great.
But the most unique thing about the Geo is a new functionality: jump and hover.
Hell yeah.
So the jumping is my favourite bit of it. It lets you jump quite high. You've got to charge up the jump first, of course, but then you can leap quite big distances.
You can enforce the jump or simmer down the jump or the landing process by firing the thrusters.
You can press space to jump and then press keep brace in space or hold it to give a thrust and kind of fly.
While you're in the air, you can maintain a small hover. You can adjust your aiming as you're landing. If you get stuck in a ravine or something, you can jump out to escape.
It's hilarious. It's fun.
It's good.
We also did
It's like
some
Titanfall.
updates to the existing Atlas, so it has now a health bar integrated into the frame, so you always see the health status of your Atlas. It also has a battery slot now, not used as of now, but will be used once the engineering gameplay comes in.
Looking forward to that.
Apart from that, we did some tweaks to the animations, so there are some death animations that we now have.
We've added some small thrusters that
I love how the death animation, like the suit's like get fucked, and like pushes the body out. Like, why would this suit push the body out? That's I don't know why that's so funny to me. Total rejection. It's so good.
allow you to land a little bit more gracefully when you're falling from a cliff, or when you jump out of ship, or falling from a greater height. I'm a vehicle artist, but I love big robots just as much.
It's much smaller than the Rock, so you can compact it back in the cargo bay of a bigger ship much easier. I personally enjoy it more because it's a big stompy robot.
So we hope that you are excited for the new Atlas Geo. We are really happy to
Looks
give
good.
it out the way it is right now. It gives us also some opportunity to revisit some of the FPS mining and RC mining, and we are happy to continue developing or continue improving or expanding on the Atlas going forward.
Love it. So here's my questions. So first off, I love everything about this. I can see mech wars. I can see organizations getting together in the next couple of months and just having like Atlas Geo versus Atlas Geo. But I don't think there's weapon systems, so maybe that's completely worthless. But I can see there being like org competitions, or who can mine the fastest, but planet side. We do a lot of things space side, but we don't do a lot of things planet side when it comes to mining and stuff. So that brings up actually my first question is like, where is the future of mining? Because as wonderful as this is, it's not like the return on your investment seems very low. Like when you mine like FPS mine on planets with the same amount of time with a prospector up in an asteroid field, I'm 100% confident that you can get more material and get more money being up in space and mining in an asteroid field. So like what is the future of mining here? Actually, what is the future of industry in Star Citizen? Because it seems like your most lucrative game loops are going to be in space. Unless you're FPS, like unless you want to be, you know, in the Merc missions, going into bunkers and bunker diving, right? Unless you're really big into delivery, not cargo hauling, but delivery missions, and you want to go planet side to drop off boxes. Okay, Roger, got it. But like, I don't know, going back to the CSVSM, like why do you need a ground asset to carry 4 boxes when you can just take a ship and do the exact same thing but be more mobile? It's the I would love to hear in the comment section if you're going to be getting, so this will be the poll. Like I just nailed the poll. So the poll is going to be, are you going to pick up the Drake Golem or the Atlas Geo when it comes out in 4.1? So that'll be the poll. But in the comment section, like, where do you see yourself playing with these assets? Because like, I'm gonna get one because they look cool and I want to be able to have one. So I am gonna buy one. But am I ever going to use it? Probably not. I'd rather take something like the Drake Golem, which is a snub. It's almost the same size as a snub fighter miner, but even then the MISC Prospector I think is still going to be better, which I already have. So, good Lord, we almost have too many options in Star Citizen. I don't know if I feel that way. I'm just spitting that out. But I'm just trying to figure out where this goes in the loop. It might be kind of fun instead of paying real money for it. This might be an in-game purchase. Might be something that you save money for and get it in-game. And then just to have, if you want to kill time, all that is fair. But again, in the cost to operate, like we want to also start talking about the cost to operate. So when engineering comes in and you're having to maintain your vehicles, it might take a lot longer. It might take a lot more resources for you to get a Vulture up and running. Vulture salvaging. Prospector. To get a Prospector up and running. To get a Drake Golem up and running. And so it might be more cost efficient to FPS mine with an Atlas. I don't know. I have no idea. And then you have to then question the whole purpose of the rock, the ROC. Like, that's never really had a purpose. It's getting a facelift in the next patch, so hey, we're happy about that. But that gray cat ROC, completely worthless. Because again, people would just take their ships. They would take the Prospector and go mine. So having again a ground asset to mine just didn't really make sense. So with that, let's go into our last couple of segments for the episode, 4.1. Let's talk about what's currently in the PTU. I'll give a little bit of predictions on when I think it's going to come out, and then we'll go into the patch watch, which, again, like I said, is probably the meat and potatoes of this podcast. So here we go. This is the latest, updated about 12 hours ago. This is the 4.1 PTU patch notes. All right, as always, I always call out the 46600, this mesh configuration. That is 4 DGSs in Stanton, 6 DGSs in Pyro, and a max head count per shard at 600. You're going to start off with 15 million, so have at it. Testing focus. Here we go. Stability and bug fixes. Enabling Orison and Area 18 NPE. The T0 item recovery. I'm still super interested in the T0 item recovery. I've heard good things. People are, still up in arms about it. Ground vehicles and FPS mining updates. Here you go. Boom. We'll talk about that in the next patch watch. Ship collision physics updates. Very good. Volt weapons. Missions updated for meshing. So medical beacons, courier, prison O2 repair, and the 890 jump boarding action. The Wicklow. There we go. They put a little, what is that called? When I was an English undergrad, I should know this. Wicklow. It's like how you say something. They finally described how to say Wicklow. Collector missions. First off, CIG, I need this for every word. every listener to be on the verse is like begging for me to have one of these. So I don't keep murdering words up here. So the Wicklow collector missions, the new Align and Mine event. Very cool. Clearly, mining is going to be a huge focus for this patch. All right, here we go. Features and gameplay, AI. Juvenile Valakar art texture updates, added dozens of new NPC heads for a wider range of looks around populations, ships, and vehicles. Fixing Corsair gun loadout. God, the Corsair seems to always get an update. I feel like it's always going up and down. It was like super OP, then they nerfed it and it got really kind of mediocre, and I feel like it's getting another, uplift. So fixing the Corsair gun loadout, having wrong wing gun on it by default, this brings it back to the intended 4 size 4s, 2 size 5s, rather than the 5 size 4s and 1 S5 size 5. Core Tech updated loading and splash screens. That's going to be cool. We've already seen that. That's going around social media as well. It looks really good. The Star Citizen logo being gold looks clean as shit. It looks really good, right? It looks very, very, very good. And the splash screen, or I guess the loading screen, they've updated it. So you know how it has like the news now. It has like an not interactive, but it has an informational or informative screen, like news. They've updated that with the latest. I love it. And that's it. I don't really go through the bug fixes. I don't really go through the technical. So there are your patch notes, but here is the patch watch. Now this one's kind of long, but I think it's super important. It kind of helps us understand where we're going. Let me cough real quick. See, aren't you proud of me? I used the mute button correctly. Now that I've moved things around. Okay, patch watch. The patch watch is back. This is where we spotlight upcoming features, improvements, and fixes that aren't listed on the public roadmap. Updates we think you'll appreciate. Right now, Alpha 4.1 is testing across all PTU waves. We're in the final stretch. We're finding the last details, and your continued support means the world to us. Thank you. Corsair balancing. In the Drake Corsair, when the co-pilot seat is empty, the pilot now has full control over all 6 guns. However, we have fine-tuned the stats to maintain balance while staying true to the ship's original intent. The nose guns have been standardized to size 4s, while the wing guns pack a punch at size 5. If a co-pilot hops in, they'll take command of the lower 2 nose guns, ensuring a dynamic multi-crew combat experience. Improved pilot firepower. Some ships now have the remote turrets linked to the pilot seat by default, allowing pilots to control them without additional crew. However, when the designated turret operators take their seats, they take full control from the pilot. I love this because it almost encourages the solo play. If you are an Anvil, Valkyrie, like diehard, you now have a reason to fly solo. It allows you the full firepower of your ship. And so there's the Anvil Carrack, the Aegis Reclaimer, the Argo Raft, the Crusader Hercules. Like, this is great. This is absolutely great. So if you're an Anvil Carrack fan, which that was originally my favorite ship, it's the only model that I've gotten from JRDF. It's the only model I've gotten from them. I still need to paint it. But it's a phenomenal ship. Now you have access to all the weapon systems. It is probably a viable ship that you can fly by yourself now. I love it. I'm going to live out of my Carrack. I miss flying the Carrack. But the fact that you now have access to all the weapon systems, great. I love this. What are your thoughts? Does this kind of kill multi-crew? Is it the wrong thing to do by PvP? Right? I think you're going to be better if you're multi-crewed. I think having a human control the nose turret, for instance, is going to be a lot more accurate, a lot more effective, right? Like shots on target are going to be a lot more effective, I think. But having the capability of defending yourself while flying a Carrack is going to be super important. So there you go. Notably, pilots can only fire these turrets within their forward view arc, as they don't have access to the full remote turret view, of course. A dedicated operator is required to utilize the turret's full pitch and yaw range. Yep, makes total sense. The Valkyrie expanded. We've raised the height limit by 1 row on the Valkyrie's cargo grid, officially increasing its capacity to 90 SCU. However, you still can't put like tanks in a Valkyrie. There's a desire to fit larger ground assets in the Valkyrie. I think the back needs a rework. I think it's the top of the garage door, right? It's the top of that doesn't allow some of those vehicles to go in. And I think, like, how sexy would it be to have a Valkyrie be able to do that? Now, the purpose of the Valkyrie is a drop ship. You're supposed to be able to drop people. Now, that does mean ground assets. You don't drop people without a ground asset. Like, even in the military, right? You usually have a ground asset when you drop people. You'd want to be able to do that in the Valkyrie, or just have a second Valkyrie that can quickly drop, again, ground assets. But if you're dropping 20 people, it doesn't make sense for you to throw down, a rock, an ROC. It doesn't make sense for you to drop down an Ursa. You might want something more powerful. And again, imagine a tank coming out of that thing with like 20 people patrolling one echelon on the left, one echelon on the right of that tank. What an amazing scene that would be with just one Valkyrie. Come on, guys. Thank you for increasing the capacity to 90 SCU, but fix that garage door so you can put a tank in there. Combat collision improvements. Ship collision damage handling is now done using full collision data passed down by physics. This means mass and speed is now fully calculated in the collision and will make the damage between larger and smaller vehicles more realistic. So your Anvil Arrow will no longer be able to run full speed into a Polaris and provide it with a rapid unscheduled disassembly. I like the sense of humor here. I like that sense of humor. Radar style update. We've improved the radar display for a smoother, more intuitive data reading experience in both combat and navigation. The background has been replaced and radar contacts have been slightly enlarged to make nearby vehicles easier to see in space. A small adjustment that should enhance the overall cockpit experience. I agree. That looks very good. That looks like a very good, clear. It looks like a very clear radar image. I like this. Arena Commander additions. Alpha 4.1 introduces 2 new maps, Astor's Clearing and Crossroads of Crime. These maps will be featured in Free Flight, Tank Royale, Team Elimination, Single Weapon Elimination, Gun Rush, FPS Kill Confirmed. Note that team-based modes in Alpha 4.1 now let you choose between light, medium, or heavy armor instead of being locked into a preset. In the future, we'll expand this to full in-game FPS loadout customizations across all applicable modes. Also, the next feature weapon in Arena Commander Single Weapon Elimination will be the Pyro SMG. There we go. Ooh, bonus lore. I just got excited. I saw lore. Bonus lore about Crossroads of Crime. Discovered in Standard Earth Year 2445, the United Nations of Earth was conflicted about what to do with the Nexus system, since the only jump point at the time was through Cathcart. They tried to use the system as a dedicated military training system, but budget issues forced the government to sell exclusive mining rights to the system to the Hathor Group, in a deal that ultimately inspired the sale of Stanton Systems centuries later. Hathor indiscriminately stripped the system of its resources and then abandoned it. Over the decades, outlaws, squatters, and refugees began to move in as the system slipped into obscurity. It wasn't until 2931, after Dean Keller's infamous run, that the UEE realized how dangerous and entrenched these criminals had become and decided to take it back. The year is now 2934. The UEE is still attempting to restore order by sweeping out the outlaws and squatters who have taken residence in the system. Experience the Crossroads of Crime, how it was on that day that the UEE Advocacy Tactical Team battled against the Supreme Gang in the battle for the Hathor mining facility on Nexus 3. Love it. Love the lore. That's cool. I like Arena Commander. I miss it being in-game. Like having the apparatus, or like you'd walk into the apparatus and it would put you into Arena Commander. Maybe that's in the future. Maybe it'll come back to us. I don't know. But I love the Arena Commander like integration into what we're doing. It's very cool. AI improvements. NPCs previously had a habit of shooting at downed players, perhaps to ensure they were truly dead. We refined their behavior so they now focus only on live targets. I don't want to keep... Okay, I know I have a critical eye and I apologize, but like we've refined their behavior so they now focus only on live targets only. Take down one of those onlys. All right, additionally, some NPCs didn't always react properly to player presence. You may have encountered situations where enemies exited their search behavior, but failed to engage correctly, either firing at corpses or simply staring at the player without attacking. We fixed one of the key issues behind this, where a mismatch in internal state caused NPCs to behave incorrectly. Be ready for more reactive NPCs in 4.1. You know, I'm sure CIG, those that listen to this podcast, I'm sure like when I critique some of the literature or like some of the some of the script, they're like, well, you can't even pronounce a damn word. Roger. Like, we all have our strengths, okay? Back off. Mining updates. I think this is it. Yep. All right, mining updates. This is probably the most important call out of these notes. Here we go. To better define mining gameplay and progression, we've split FPS and ground vehicle minables into separate categories. Previously, resources like aphorite, dolomine, and hadanite were shared between both mining methods, but now each has its own exclusive minables with distinct difficulty ratings. This change ensures that mining with vehicles like the Grey Cat ROC offers a unique experience separate from FPS mining and allows for a clearer progression path from beginner to expert tier resources. 1 second. All right, I sneezed at that time. Wasn't a cough. Usually I sneeze in twos. Wait for it. All right, I think I'm good. Good Lord. Where was I? We booed the Grey Cat ROC. Here we go. Additionally, we've introduced 4 dedicated size 0 mining heads for the rock. Nice. Each offering specialized benefits, such as improved instability reduction, resistance reduction, optimized charge windows, and increased laser power. These are the Arbor, the Hofstede, the Klein, and the Helix mining heads. The Rock DS also has a new modifier attached to it that gives a bonus to the optimal charge rate for all mining lasers attached. Recent adjustments based on your feedback include doubling the power of ground vehicle mining lasers, halving the charge time required to break rocks, and making FPS minables harder to extract with vehicle lasers to reinforce the intended gameplay balance. These changes aim to introduce core mining mechanics like resistance and instability gradually to allow miners to develop their skills before taking on more complex challenges. More advanced minables will be introduced over time, with some already in-game, such as the Janelite. Cool. You'll see just how demanding expert mining can be. We have also slightly increased the laser power of the multi-tool. So this actually answers my question earlier about the Atlas Geo. So if you're going to make certain things only mineable from a certain platform, then that kind of makes sense. You'd want to have a rock in an Atlas Geo in order to get different materials. Probably super important for base building, right? As you're trying to get the right things for what you're trying to build at your base. You might need a platoon of Atlas Geos. You might need a squad of Grey Cat ROCs, right? I think this kind of addresses my question earlier. Back to the article. Updated adjustments to ground vehicle minables. The Baradon, it's easy beginner minables. The Glacosite, see this is the crap I'm talking about. I don't know how to say these words. The Glacosite, medium beginner minables. The Fainmaline, something looks good. Hard beginner minables. And look, redacted. A redacted medium expert mineable. I wonder, unless that is... when you kill the worm in the raid that was previewed at CitizenCon, are you salvaging the worm or are you mining the worm? I think you're mining the worm. So this could be like the redacted stuff. This could be coming out of the worm. Why else would you redact this? Like if you just threw up a random set of letters and you were like, hey, here's the medium expert mineable, you'd be like, oh, okay. So having redacted, that's got to be something that hints at a bigger release. My 2 cents. Updated adjustments to FPS hand minables. Aphorite, easy beginner mineable. The Dolomine, medium beginner minables. The Hadanite, the hard beginner minables. And the Janelite, medium expert minables. And then you got, again, 3 more redacteds. So mining, again, is clearly getting an overhaul. I need to get back into mining. I haven't mined in like years. Guys, when the Prospector first came out, I took it out, I mined for like a month, and then realized like it wasn't my thing. And then we had an org night where we had a few moles go out there and asteroid mine, but even then I was flying a Caterpillar to like take the materials back. I need to get back into it. I know how. I know the changes. I've been able to see the changes and see the impacts of all of that. The different mining heads and what to equip and how to make things more safe and expedite, right? Like all of that. Got it. Roger. But I need to get into the latest. And I think 4.1 is the right time to do it. I mean, clearly, like that's what's coming out. I think salvaging has gotten an uplift. I think the last couple of patches have leaned in on salvaging. We've had cargo hauling, right? We have had a major cargo hauling update. Now we've had salvaging. Here we are with mining. So pretty cool. I think we're getting even closer to engineering, which is exciting. Looking forward to that. But yeah, what are your thoughts on 4.1? I mean, this is it. I think 4.1 has the potential of coming out next week. However, I want to remind everybody that we were told that we have until the end of March to complete the global event, right? So if that's the case, and then, this is patch 4.1, so you could argue that April 1st would be the launch, like 4.1. Like, I don't think they really care about that. I don't think CIG is sitting around a table saying we can't launch till April 1st. But I could see it more, not this upcoming week, but the week after, like maybe the weekend. But it's also possible that 4.1 comes out while the event can still be played. So, is what it is. But what about you? Are you getting into mining? Do these updates reinvigorate your desire to get into industry or to get into mining? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Listen, if anything that you said that you've liked, hit the like button, whether on YouTube or whether on Spotify. Let's engage with those numbers as well. Help share the love to other people who might not have heard of Beyond the Verse yet. So hit that like button. And if this is something you want updates to, continued updates, go ahead and subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Spotify, so you get the latest and greatest. You don't miss any giveaways or any fun topics that we have to cover, any guests that we have on, which coming up in a couple episodes, you'll be very happy you did. So thank you for listening to episode 98. Dad, if you're listening, wherever you are, I love you, and I hope this finds you well and at peace. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Safe travels as you traverse Beyond the Verse. Take care, everybody.